Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Nationwide blackout is imminent as electricity workers begin indefinite strike this morning. The industrial action is declared under the aegis of the National Union of Electricity Employees, NUEE. The union said the decision to down tools remained the only option since there was no dialogue with the federal government to resolve the lingering industrial crisis in the sector. Assistant Secretary General of the NUEE, Anthony Sule, said the 21-day ultimatum given to the Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, expired at midnight on Tuesday. The statement reads in quote, "The Minister of Power has failed to resolve some of the issues affecting members of the union since 2013, when the power sector was privatized, especially issues that with the over 2,000 disengaged former PHCN workers and their payoff." End of quote. We did hope some kind of rapprochement would be reached, but apparently not. That the strike is to proceed, and we are to be plunged into darkness. Oh, dear.
Well, in fact, I think they've started the strike today, and they are still hoping that the federal government of Nigeria will engage them. You will recall that when they gave a 21-day ultimatum in a letter directed to the Ministry of Power, they were more or less ignored. The ministry wrote a response saying that the minister was out of the country and that the minister would, after studying their demands, get back to them. For 21 days, they didn't get any response. And they came forward and said, well, the ultimatum having expired, they were going to go on strike. And their demands are very specific. They include the disengagement of 2,000 staff of the defunct power holding company since 2013, the underpayment of over 50,000 ex-PHCN staff, payment of half salaries to workers by discos, and then 4, unfair labor practices over unresolved labor issues. Now, all of these issues, are issues that could have been addressed by both the Ministry of Power and also the Minister of Labor, Employment and Productivity, and that has not happened. And I was arguing yesterday that should there be a nationwide strike by this particular union, this very strategic category of workers, the Minister of Power should be held personally responsible. And it deserves to be queried by the President of Nigeria if indeed he just ignored and overlooked every opportunity to discuss, to at least discuss with this National Union of Electricity Employees. Because, of course, we cannot overstate the implications. At the moment, as Senator Ahmad Lawan pointed out, at a roundtable on power at the Senate, Nigeria is likely to go down to less than 4,000 megawatts. So the situation is bad enough as it is. The discos themselves are saying that they need a bailout to the tune of about 1.7 trillion naira, and nobody is granting them audience. So this is at variance with the kind of commitment that has been expressed by President Buhari, who is talking of a transformation, in the power sector, collaborating particularly with the Germans, with is this Siemens? Siemens, of Germany. So we hope that somebody will move very quickly and put an end to this impasse.
What's a shame, because even when we spoke about it yesterday, we literally had to say the fact that you did not respond for 21 days means that if they do decide to go on strike, you must be held accountable. But
well, are you surprised when the first thing was to ask for prayers when you become minister?
Honestly.
Anyway, Aaron Akere-Jala joins us now to talk about sports. Good morning, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron.
Today, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Thank you very much. All right, okay, let's start it off from one man who seems to be grabbing the headlines non-stop, Anthony Joshua. And he solidified his status as the king of the bands after reclaiming his heavyweight belt. The British boxer beat Andy Ruiz Jr. following his shock loss in the summer over the weekend. And that would have been music to the ears of sponsors who pay Anthony Joshua a whopping $8.3 million per year to endorse their products. Joshua, who is 30 years, potentially faced losing millions in sponsorship deals if he lost to the Mexican brawler for a second time. Exclusive brands like Hugo Boss, Jaguar, Land Rover, Audemars Piguet, and Beats by Dre put Joshua front and center of their expensive ad campaigns because of his sporting prowess and good looks. And after his heroic win, AJ has ignited the belief that he's one of the most marketable sports stars on the planet. PR guru Mark Brodsky believes that the 2012 Olympic gold medalist has galvanized his sponsorship deals after going on a downward trajectory following his surprise defeat.
Fantastic. This is an incentive, if I ever heard one, to make sure you don't lose.
So,
Amazing.
as it stands right now, he can't go less than £8 million for any deal he will be signing. And brands are beginning to queue up because every brand is always looking for a fresh face in sports to actually market. Although he has not come close to the likes of Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Roger Federer, who seems to be the darling of sports, even though some of them are in the twilight of their careers. But never, Anthony Joshua is beginning to get close. And if he keeps his head straight and he's serious with his fights, trust me, in no time he might be commanding as much as probably 20 million per endorsement.
Well, isn't there a lesson here? Simply that, hard work pays and success will attract attention and reward.
Yeah, but also because they're paying for good looks. Because he has the physique, he has the looks, and he also has this charm and charisma about him.
And he has a global brand as well.
Yeah,
because
personality matters. But, the basic thing is, the success in the boxing ring.
Yes.
If he was not a world heavyweight champion, he may have excellent looks. Nobody will offer him.
No, because success pays him huge.
And I also like the fact that he doesn't alienate any group of people.
Okay.
He tends to keep his opinions quite modulated. This is the age of people being offended. Yeah, he hasn't offended. There's been no backlash. There's been no hashtag cancel Anthony Joshua. So,
this is what I was saying about that global brand. He has the ability to appeal to everyone. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And he's scandal-free, even in his private life. There was this situation, this talk about a likely fight between him and Deontay Wilder, and whether he doesn't want to fight or Deontay Wilder is saying, I don't want to fight him.
Now, the point is...
Who is running away from the other?
It looks like the Joshua camp are running away from Deontay Wilder because the more they extend the fight, the more they prolong this particular bout that everyone wants to see, the more money they can actually milk out of it. We saw this play out between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. The more they extended it, the more they were able to milk out of it because fans kept on asking, we want to see these fights happen. Deontay Wilder is ready to fight Anthony Joshua as soon as possible. But at the end, for some particular reason, Anthony Joshua's promoter knows that if it happens too soon, a lot can go wrong. So probably the smart thing to do...
It's better to maximize.
Yes, maximize. Try to... Because no one thought... It was a massive curveball, talking about the loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. Yeah. And it took a dent in Anthony Joshua's career. At least Anthony Joshua can now say... Or he cannot say that he's undefeated anymore. So that he will want to avoid as much as possible. Deontay Wilder is still as feisty as it gets. And there's a huge likelihood, I still believe, that right now, although Deontay Wilder is older than Anthony Joshua, right now, if they fight between 2019 and 2020, Anthony Joshua will be flawed again. But probably maybe in 2021, 2022, well, Deontay Wilder is getting older. He might lose his strength. He might lose his speed.
Sparkle.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So, but for now, they are lining up fights with Usyk is in the corner somewhere and somewhere. Let's see how things actually go with Anthony Joshua. But in the meantime, let's turn our attention to football, where some ugly incidents happened yesterday in the UEFA Champions League as Memphis Depay clashed with Olympique Lyonnais ultras as the ex-Manchester United ace tried to grab a flag branding teammate Marcelo Edonki. Late goal hero Depay had to be hauled away amid astonishing scenes after Lyon sneaked into the Champions League knockout stage with a 2-2 comeback draw at home to Leipzig. Unhappy Lyon stars swam behind the goal as security staff gathered in front of the ultras. And the Dutch striker Depay looked the angriest as he sprinted over, attempting in vain to take the banner from the Nebo fan as teammates converged. The bell was steered away in the ugly flare-up, but Brazilian Marcelo, the regular butt of criticism from home supporters, also made a furious gesture. Our teammates declined to applaud the ultras known as the Bad Guns. This is really a sad trend. UEFA has tried everything possible. FIFA has tried everything possible. As a matter of fact, every UEFA Champions League match that is played, there is a badge on the arm of every player that signifies respect. That seems to be the motto of UEFA for now when they want to play games. But the ultras, the fans, those seem to want to heed to all this. They've banned players. I mean, they've banned fans. They've actually closed down stadiums. They've done all sorts.
There have been fines as well.
Yeah, massive fines.
Yes.
But we still see ugly incidents like this happening. Because the guy didn't just come out with a picture of a donkey. He came out with a picture of a donkey with the name Marcelo written under it. He's also a black guy that plays for Olympique Lyonnais and the French outfits. It's really sad that things like this are still rearing their ugly head. Regardless, kick it off in the UK, an NGO that seeks to try to level the playing field and try to kick out racism, have been doing a lot. But in places like France, places like Germany, places like Spain, we keep seeing these things happen time and time again.
And Italy, with that awful Black Friday.
Yeah, Italians also have been notorious for this too.
It's
Well, I think clearly, there is a need, an urgent need to show racism the red card, not just in football, but in every sport. And this is not a problem just in football, because yes, there is save football in Europe from racism movement.
Yeah.
But you'll find that all of this dates back to the 1890s in the United States, when black people were not allowed to be members of the National Baseball Association.
Yes.
But what we've seen in all of these cases, is that it doesn't determine performance at the end of the day. Many black people, many persons of color, they've excelled in spite of racism. In baseball, you had Jackie Robinson, you had Babe Ruth, right? But it's a very serious problem, and the fans are the guilty ones, because they are the ones who, started it, and they disturb the sport, they reduce the integrity of the game. You remember the Boateng incident when he was with AC Milan.
Yes.
Each time he went on the pitch, there were monkey chants
everywhere.
With every kick, and it destabilized them. So I think we need to give racism the red card.
Aaron, thank you so very much for these updates.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure.
That's all on the news headline.